Hello everyone, welcome back to another race review. This is race review number 4. Almost running out of hands or fingers, digits. Thank you. This one today is a club championship race. So for us, that is a scratch race. There is no result for consistency or handicap. So it is a scratch race, and there's only 8 club championship rounds in the season. So hotly contested, and whoever at the end of the season has the most points, least points, is the club champion. This is race 7, so very close to the end of the season, and as you can see, hotly contested. It is the 4th of March 2023, and as you can see in a second, beautiful day at Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club. Super light conditions at the start of this race. Probably about 5 to 8 knots. For that reason, I am going to be skipping through this one a little bit. The entire race took almost an hour, which compared to our normal races, which were about 25 minutes, is a bit of a marathon. So I felt it was important to maybe show you some light wind techniques, because I haven't really done that yet. It doesn't make for the most exciting on-water action, but tactically, it's pretty cool. So I will be skipping through parts just so that we get to the end in around about half an hour, and watch until the end for a silly, very costly mistake. This kills me, this one. When I first started doing this, I promised myself that I would play all races, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is one really good race that turns really bad really quickly. So please stick around to the end, and all will be revealed, okay? That's it. Oh, I've got the Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club BSYC Mug of Champions here, so I'll be sloping along during the race. But let's get started. We're about a minute out from the start sequence, or the start of the race. Let me just flick over here now. There we are. Okay, let's go. 6969. I might have mentioned in other videos, he really likes this spot right here, and we'll defend it. That was the 1 minute gun. What do we got here? Trying to keep clear air. That's the thing that you need to know about light wind sailing. It's all about clear air and board speed, basically. So especially at the start, we need to keep our clear air, and we're doing a good job of it at the moment. But let's see how we go. There's certainly a few boards above and below me here. And yeah, we're just trying. We've got some pressure out here. Oh, you might notice my cursor is a bit bigger this week. Hopefully now you can see what I'm pointing at. So we've got some nice pressure out here, and which I am hoping will get to us right about the start of the race. So let's keep going. Lots of boards out this day. Often happens with club championships. Okay, must be about 30 seconds to go. 6969 here is just having a look around. Weighing up everybody. I'm a little way off the back of the boat. It's hard to tell with this 360 camera, but could be a bit closer up, and people starting to pump. There we go. There's the start signal, and I get pumped straight over the top of by 6969. But I should have expected that, really. Unfortunately, it means I'm just pumping nothing now. Yeah, bad air. And everyone in front of me is sort of pulling away. Another competitor there attacking for clear air, which is a good idea. 232. certainly would have done in that situation. And in fact, I think I do throw a tack in a second, just because we're going nowhere. There we go. There's that tack. I'm all clear, so why not? Again, just trying to get out a bit more towards this pressure here. That's, I guess, the theme of today is always trying to sail in as much pressure. So when I say pressure, I mean wind as we can. That's how you're going to do well on a day like today. Another thing I want you to notice is if you look at the board, see the water running across the bottom rail there, right here? That is because my board is at an angle, fairly severe angle, probably about 25, 30 degrees of heel. What that's going to do is, in these light conditions, there is less board in the water to push through the water, less drag, and it also has the advantage of heading the board up into the wind, so we can sail nice and close to the wind, even though we don't have a whole lot of wind in our sails. So here's that pressure that I saw earlier. I've managed to tack onto that, and already we're doing a lot better than we were sort of 3 minutes ago. Getting a little bit of a pitter-patter on the bottom of the board. That's what we want. Amazing clear water here at Brighton. Now, another thing I want to point out is this here, my arms. So you'll see my body's quite upright and turned to face forward. So it's not side on to the board. And as you can see here, my arms are bent like so, if you can see me in the camera. So I'm getting the rig up as straight as possible. Even though the board's leaning over, I'm trying to get the rig as straight as possible. A lot of people in light winds will just do this and the rig will be at an angle, and that's a very slow way to sail. Unfortunately, and this leg is almost 30 minutes long, unfortunately it really starts to burn in this light conditions when you're basically up like this the whole way, but it's the fastest way. And so that's interesting. 571 I called through, so I'm on starboard. I have right of way. 571 is on port. She would have crossed in front of me anyway. That's not a problem. But just letting her know ahead of time that I wasn't going to call starboard meant that she could keep sailing her course and not have to deviate or slow down. The reason that I did that, even if there was a chance that I would have had to bear away to let her through, I would have done it because I didn't want to tack. I'm happy on this tack. I've got my pressure. I'm sailing towards it. And to throw a tack in this amount of wind is very slow and would only have disadvantaged me. So that's it. Don't be afraid to, if you think it's beneficial, to call a port board through. Okay. All right, so where are we? We had a terrible start, as you saw. I would say these two boards here are ahead of me, and as well as all these boards down here. So we're probably 12th, 13th, or lower down, so not great. And on a day like today, where the wind is very, shall we say, light, it's very hard to catch up because it's not like there's a huge amount of speed available at this point anyway. So I'm going to sail on. I want to get over to this side. I can see if the wind is going to come in, it is going to come in from over here rather than sort of out here to sea. So that's my game plan. Always have a game plan. Always start the race knowing what you want to do. Otherwise, if you don't know what to do, you'll just do anything and it's not going to work out most of the time. So that's my plan. Let's skip forward a bit. There we go. The wonders of fast forward. There's our leader up here. At the moment, is 6969. Got a nice little gust heading out to sea. But yeah, I'm just going to stay true to my tack and just keep going, having faith that there is going to be more pressure, more wind over on this side of the course. Here we go. As you can see, majority of the fleet just cross in front of me. (911) there, a really good light wind sailor. Heading out to sea. I'm going to keep going. See what that does. Sometimes you'll see here, get these little waves as well. Sometimes you get these little waves coming from behind you and you just make the most of it. Upwind, it can really help. So, as you can see, still tucked in here with my arms. By now, absolutely burning. And yeah, all you want to do is relax the arm and let it out and just hang off the boom, but you just can't do that. Keep them in tight. You want to keep that boom pretty much, you can see my chin is over my shoulder. I'm looking ahead, I'm looking at the other competitors. Most have crossed in front of me and they're heading out to sea. Oh, as I mentioned, this is a long leg, this one. I'm going to stick with this tack though. Something interesting is about to happen though. Up ahead, you might remember from the last episode, episode 3, I mentioned that we have a club rule where we cannot sail through a start-finish line unless we're starting or finishing. This is a start-finish line. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Simon, you just started about 15 minutes ago. This is for the junior fleets. So not my start or finish line, but here's the thing, I need to keep clear. Even though it's not my start or finish line, I can't go through there. So what you'll see me do in a second is it's forcing me to tack because I don't want to pinch to get around the boat. It's just not going to be fast. If I had my way, I would keep going, but yeah, here we go. Here's that tack. And fortunately, it's not such a bad tack. I've got this great pressure coming along here. And we're going to head out there. I'm going to fast forward because this is a long leg. Long leg. Still probably 12th, 15th. Not great. In a club championship, not great. Now you're probably noticing here that we're starting to get some quite decent little patches of breeze. I know it looks like I'm in slow motion here, but actually doing okay. Looking at this rail down here again, you see the water on this side of the board. You also see this is my back foot. From time to time you see it poking out there. It's actually on the other side of the centerboard case, the dagger board case there. That's another thing when you're heading up, when you want to get that heel in your board, you want to get your weight as close to the center or even past the center of the board. And just really leave your weight on there so that the board's not rocking back and forth like that. It's nice constant heel. All right, starting to get some pressure here now. And those that went out to sea aren't really getting that, or the advantage of this. The ones that came in here to the left-hand side are, but we're doing okay out of this all of a sudden. We're going from 0 to middle of the fleet. Let's skip forward again. It's a long one. Oh, I'm going to throw a tack in here. Again, heading out this side of the course. I can see that pressure. I do like this headland. You probably noticed now from watching a few of my races that I do tend to go left on the works. rather than head out to sea. There's also quite a ferocious tide on this particular day as well. So the tide's coming in, and you'll see what that means when we get to the top mark. But essentially, we want to stay in the shallow area, and as you can see here, it's quite shallow, and certainly gets shallower over this side of the course rather than heading out to sea, which is deeper water, and the tide runs faster through there. So again, all part of the game plan. It's all part of knowing the conditions and just using them to your advantage. We can go faster. Wow. There we go. Probably the most amount of breeze that we've seen all leg, just coming this way here. Very nice. Arms are getting absolutely wrecked. It's funny, these are the days where you come into shore and you just, you can't even pick your board up because you're just in so much pain. You would think it would be the 20, 30 knot days. Not necessarily, no. It's the 5 knot days that really test your physical strength. If you haven't noticed, I have a little, what do we call this? I don't know, Camelback or is the brand name, but basically a little water bottle in here too, so I can keep hydrated. Just a tip. Does add a little bit of weight, but yeah, you can't beat being able to have a drink of water on a day like today during the race, because I find that I get dehydrated and make bad decisions, and that's not really an excuse for the end of this race, but it's good just to stay hydrated. It's healthy anyway, and it makes you sail better. Okay, I'm going to skip forward here. We're getting out towards the far left side now, which is kind of where I want it to be. Still going, hitting some good pressure here. Let's hear the board. Yeah, slow motion. Here we go. Look, I'll leave it in fast motion till we get to the top mark, and then let's have a look and see where we are in the fleet, because, yeah, like I say, very long leg, this one. And tacking. Got really nice pressure here now, and it's pretty much my own breeze. Don't have to share it with anybody. There's no one sort of around. Oh, here's a helicopter. Where is he? He's gone behind my sail. We are fortunate enough to have surf lifesaving helicopters that come over throughout the summer, just to keep an eye on anything under the water that we may not want to be racing against. So very grateful to have that service. Okay, so we've done pretty well out of this, actually. From being the back of the fleet, we're now at the front of the fleet. And moving along nicely. Still got that nice pressure. So yeah, it is possible to get a bad start and then make it back again in light winds, but very rare. So, and shout out to the volunteers. Nice little bubble bath for my board. BSYC volunteers, they're helping out the junior classes. And I promise you the wind does pick up and it gets a bit quicker. As far as rigging goes, I have a little bit of downhaul off. So you see these wrinkles down here, so I don't have like any vertical creases or anything. But I still want it quite tight because I want to be able to point. But my outhaul is out a lot. Certainly, even if you look at my first or second video. Oh, okay, that's the end of that. Let's just go to the second. Okay, thank you. Fast forward. Okay, getting towards the top mark now, you'd be glad to know. And I was just saying before we ran out of video that the wind is picking up. You might have noticed that. Certainly if you think back to how much wind there was at the start of this race, it was pretty much just bobbing up and down. You can see we've got a little bit of wind here now. So the good news is it does continue to build throughout the race. So by the end of the race, we're doing okay. Still, those arms cramping. Tell you what, I'm going to have a sip from the mug of champions. Ooh. Okay, here's our leader. Here's our top mark. Is it? Oh no, and we're looking at it for a dimple mark. Where are you, dimple mark? It's very hard to see, and marks are a problem for me. You will notice. Stick around to the end. I promise it's worth it. Okay, there it is. There's our dimple mark. Just here, leader going round 6969. So that's his first. Throwing attack in here. Here's second place, 189, going around now. And I've actually managed to come in on the ley line here. Not always a great idea, but on a day like today it is, because I mentioned the tide earlier on. So all of these boards have to now come across into the tide, and you can see here, this board here is not going to make the mark. They thought they'd laid it. Having to do an extra attack. The same with these boards here. They're not going to lay this top mark either. So I have the advantage of sort of just cruising up past it, counting to 10 and throwing attack, and I get around first go, luckily. Gosh, it's like it's in slow motion, isn't it? See, as you can see, really hard time getting around that mark because of the tide. There's my attack. Attacking on somewhat of a gust. See, but and I'm on starboard here, so 88 has to give weight to me, which it does. Thank you. And this poor sailor is again going to miss the mark after his second or third attempt. But such is the tide. Not easy to judge when the tide is stronger than the wind. It's very difficult. Okay, I'm just going to sneak around here. And I'll talk a little bit about downwind pumping, but I'm going to fast forward through this leg too because it's in the long leg. So what? 1, 2. I think I'm in 5th around the top mark here. 9, 8 finally gets around. 8, 8 also. So here's pumping. Gosh, I look at this, and even though this was March, start of March, and we're in April, I feel that my downwind pumping has already improved a lot past this. I'm now when I pump, I'm grabbing a lot further along the back of the boom and scooping the mast, almost pumping with the leech of the sail and then pumping with the luff of the sail. And in fact, I'm kind of towards the end of this leg, I kind of get it, but it's pumping my best. For anyone who doesn't think windsurfing is a cardio sport, under this blue thing on my wrist here, I have a smartwatch, and I record my speed, my direction, my heart rate. And I can tell you now, my heart rate is at about 180 beats per minute and will be right to the bottom mark. To give you some idea, if I go for a jog and I'm running, my heart rate might get up to about 160 beats per minute. So it is extremely stressful, and you can, just think that whole entire upwind leg, it was almost 30 minutes of just basically having my elbows under my chin and just being completely cramped up, and then having to do this. It's hard work, and I love it, but it's hard work. All right, that's enough. Let's fast forward down here. Some people have gone to the inside there, some gone to the outside. I'm just kind of going down the middle, trying to sail the shortest route possible. I think I even dropped my rig here in a second, just because I'm just pumping as hard as I can. And in fact, the reason I do drop the rig is I think the wind is coming up slightly, is increasing. And there we go. Yeah, drop the wig and then almost fall over and pretend to jibe and all sorts of stuff. That's a couple of unexpected gusts hitting me from behind. So the good news is the wind's increasing. Bad news is I've lost a place down this leg, so I'm now 6th. There we go, an early jibe. Let's just see how we go with this rounding. So 9-8 right on the buoy. And I'm going to try and do the same, but always tricky. Some light winds there. So take a wider angle than I would have liked. But yeah, as I mentioned, got a little bit more wind here now. There's me getting my drinking straw, enjoying a well-earned mouthful of cool water after that leg. 9-8 I think is going to tack off in a second, and I'm going to keep going because I really like this pressure out this side of the course. You can see here from this NS, it's really heeling over. You can probably hear it in the microphone and the camera. Hear that? So there's a little bit there. Certainly more than the start of the race. And yeah, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to fast forward through this. You think it's long watching it? You should try editing it. Okay, tacking through. Okay, and in a sec, you will see Wind's getting stronger. Board is pitter-pattering away. This nice little gust right here. And when it finds me, when it finally gets there, there we go. So there's my harness lines. Okay, this whole entire race I've been out of the harness. I call that mode 1. So I've been sailing without the harness. The entire rig is held up by my arms, and as I mentioned, trying to get my body in as close to the rig to get it as upright as possible. Now that I get this little gust here, I will hook into my harness, and I call that mode 2, and things change when you can do that. There we go. Hooked in. I grabbed my uphaul rope. I spoke a little bit about that last race. Check that out if you want to know why I do that. But here I am. I'm in my harness now. So a few things. One is the harness is kind of keeping the sail trimmed, and the rig is now, I'm using my body weight to trim the rig. So less pressure in my arms. I've also got the uphaul, so I've got a more open stance now. And it just means, yeah, the board's going to go a lot faster. Luckily for me, when that happens, it's usually a lot earlier than my competitors because of things like weight. It means they'll still be sort of stuck in the water and in mode 1. So I've gone to mode 2 there. I'm just making this up. It's not a real term. It's a made up term. But yeah, I'm in mode 2. And I love mode 2. Let's forward through. It's 706.
Thanks, bye.
Looking good, he says. That's what I love about this class, just the camaraderie and support that you get from the fellow sailors. And I'll add that 706 won last race. So, you know, we can all win on our day. And if it's not our day, then we're very quick to encourage our other competitors. Anyway, cruising along. Cruising. Again, I want to be out on that left-hand side. And luckily this leg's working very well. Lots of speed. So how many places have we made? Oh, I reckon let's say we were 15th off the line. We went round the top mark, we were 5th. Bottom mark, we were 6th. There's the person that was in 5th going behind us now. So we're in 5th, I would say. So back up to 5th. There's the person that was in third place going behind us now. So we are in 4th place now. So we're gaining. That's good. Up ahead there, that's 189. They were in 2nd place around the top mark. So then you see the red sail down here. They were in 4th place. So depending on where we are with that red sail, we may even be up to 3rd place here. Which is good. Club championship, don't forget. And pretty much a full fleet out racing. There's the red sail. Now I'm going to tack there. So look, I wanted to get to this gust here, and I was getting pretty close to the ley line, so there's no real reason to keep going out that way. So Assuming that I'm in front of Red Sail, which I believe I am here, we are in 3rd place. And that's my 2nd tack since going around the bottom mark. So it's not about tacking on shifts or doing anything tricky. It's really just maximizing speed, and it's painful in these conditions. But every 1/8 of a knot helps, especially over such a long distance. You'll see I'm still hooked into my harness here, so I'm in mode 2. And it's a lot easier sailing that way. Here's our leader, 6969. As you can see, a long way ahead. There's 2nd place there. We're in 3rd. And 6969's heading down. So we've got the first leg was a work, and then we did a run. Now we've done another work. We're going to do 2 reaches. And then through the finish. Here's our mark. So again, pretty close to that ley line. Avoiding those issues with the tide as much as possible. But also sticking to this side again. Story of the day has been just sailing for pressure. If you're not aware, then there's kind of 2 ways you can sail. One is to sail for pressure. So sail where you can see the wind is and try and maximize your speed, or the other one is to sail shifts. So yeah, basically look for the wind shifts and use those to your advantage. But on a day like today where you're completely underpowered, definitely sailing for pressure is the way to go, especially on a windsurfer. You can sail all the right shifts, and if you're not going as fast as you possibly can, you'll not be up towards the front. Okay, here's our dimple mark. Again, I think I was pointing to that before, getting my marks wrong. Story of the day. Anyway, here is our top mark. So again, I'm right on the ley line. I like that because I don't have to think so much about the tide. I can just poke my nose past the mark, throw a tack, and I know I'm good. Whereas down here, they're going to have to think about it, and you'll see what happens. So we've got red sail here coming in. We've got orange sail, and we are 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but we don't know which order yet. So tacked on starboard 189. I need to give way. I'm on port. Once I tack, the red sail needs to give way to me. There's my tack. And unfortunately, just doesn't quite make the mark. And let's just go back there and just see how close that was, because it must be said that this was some precision riding from all 3 sailors here. So I've got 189 right here. Red sail just below. And at one point here, wow, look how close that is. And then pumping. Pump, pump, pump. Trying to get away. And luckily as I go around, there's this little gust here, so I get the advantage of that. And I'm heading down to a wing mark or a jibe mark down here. Nice pressure filling in from the side. That's definitely helping. Again, cardio, 180, right up there. Blood's pumping, heart's screaming, your arms are screaming from the work, and you just got to put your head down and go, go, go. Otherwise, you are not going to be 2nd, which is where we are now. knowing that 189's just behind us and a very, very good sailor. Spoiler alert, 189 comes second overall in the club championship, so very good sailor. Second best sailor in the club, you could say, if you were to judge them on the club championship. But I'm just trying to get each and every gust, trying to pull away. Thinking it will all be worth it at the end. Stick around. Stick around. All right. I'm going to fast forward here because time. But here we go. Still managing to stay ahead. That is the end of that video. But still going. I've managed to pull out a bit on 189, which is good news. Here's our dimple mark down here. To explain the course, all I have to do is jibe around here. There's another mark down here. I go around that and then through the finish line. And I will be second. And that's pretty good considering the start that I had. And as you know, I've done some pretty terrible jibes this season in my previous videos. So let's see if we can't have a clean jibe here. Right down the end of the boom, end of the board. Nice carve. Beautiful. And I'm off. All I got to do is go around the mark and through the finish. You can see there, 189 just going through there. Probably 10 seconds behind now. And it's just basically a pump fest right through to the finish. Got some other boards back here. There's the red sail had trouble getting around the top mark. 232 I think is the number, and 98 just going around now, so quite got a substantial lead on them. Don't really have to worry about them. Just gonna find our way to the bottom mark and then through the finish. All is good. Also, I think. Now, it's about this point, you see me, I'm starting to look over my shoulder. I can see that 189 is in this pressure in here. And also aiming a fair bit higher up than I am. So I'm thinking he's just going high to get that pressure. But that's okay because I'm going straight to the mark. So I'm sailing less distance. Again, I've got a 10-second lead. And all I got to do is go around this mark and through the finish. Easy does it. I don't want to do too much and fall in here. Just want to keep pumping. Now, this is a different type of pumping, you might notice, than the pumping I was doing dead downwind. So it's kind of more a flick. I'm kind of flicking the mast forward as I pull it on, and that's just sort of pushing the board through the water rather than sort of trying to create airflow over the sail. That was the hooter for 6969 finishing. First place, well done, congratulations. No surprise that he will end up winning the club championship. Okay, so we're doing all right. So it's kind of hard to see. There's some marks. Notice I use it's plural. Anyway, in a second we'll zoom in and you'll see where we're headed. So I'm heading down to this mark here. Again, going straight for it. No problems there. Competitor's pretty high up. So he's going to have to come down a long way. And then I realise that's not my mark. That's my mark. Sorry for the swearing. You can hear 6969 yelling at me. Wrong mark. Not an excuse, but we have a number of different fleets racing all at the same time, and there are a number of different marks there, and it is absolutely my responsibility to know which marks are ours and which marks aren't, like that one down there. But on this day I got it very wrong. So now we see 189 way ahead of me here, and 89 coming through as well. Now on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, we have a talk there on rules, and it's been really good. Got a lot of interest, people asking all sorts of questions. One of the questions that was asked on Facebook of our rules talk is, we have a rule where we cannot pump upwind or on a close hold course except for 30 seconds after the start, okay? But we can pump downwind. My problem here is I'm on a close hold course now because I've had to tighten up so much to make this finish line that I am close hauled. I'm on a work, whereas 8-9 here is on a reach, so he can pump as much as he wants, and I can't pump to save a third place. So I'm at the mercy of the wind here. There's the finish line. Oh, this hurts. Can't watch. That's a bad luck from 98. He's seen what that, yeah. Fourth place. It's not bad. It's not bad. If you told me that I'd start 15th and finish 4th, I'd be pretty happy. But that was a second place that pretty much threw away there. So anyway, thanks for watching right to the end. That was a really long one. So you've done well. Please, hopefully you've learned what not to do. Learn from my mistakes. Do as I say, not as I do. And this is a perfect example. I am a one-man band, so I'm a sailor, cameraman, editor, commentator, and unfortunately navigator. If you got something out of this, maybe consider sharing it on Facebook. You can just click on the share button in YouTube, and that'll give you a link. And if you just post that on your Facebook page, if you have friends on Facebook who like sailing, like windsurfing, who just like being on the water, who like watching people fail and go to the wrong mark, hey, how about you just whack a share on there, and hopefully somebody gets something out of it. I'm just trying to spread the word, basically. I'm not after views. I'm not really after likes. I just want to get these videos out to as many people that can watch them and learn from them and maybe take something away. So thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for watching. That's number 4 now. Yeah. I'll see you again with another one. Bye.